Every time I come by here, I think that this is the Shell station of death and doom. Just don't go here. The gas is all black sludge. I got woken up today by some pounding on the front of the building, and people screaming, absolutely screaming in Spanish. So I couldn't partake of whatever the fuck they were yelling about. Even though I should have learned some other languages by this stage in my life, but I don't speak anything but, well, I speak English and I also speak gibberish. I speak music. I actually think music is the most successful code ever developed, the most successful international language, because you can put a Beethoven sonata in front of, in front of a Guatemalan person, in front of a Chinese person, in front of an Arabic person, and you can reasonably expect them to be able to read it if they're trained. It's a very sophisticated form of code too, by the way. More so than any computer code I've ever delved into. God, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm heading over to the big yard. I want to see if the Calvary Cemetery Chapel is open again. So many things haven't been able to do in the past, year and a half, I guess. And entering that little structure is one of them. I sat at a bar last night for the first time in probably 3.5 years. I've been in a few places like that, but the rules had been you can't sit at the bar. You can't get near the bartender. So that was a nice feeling in a strange way. I don't really like bars anymore, but with every day, as we creep toward something we can call normalcy, with every single day, all I can say to myself is don't take it for granted. Just don't take a single day for granted. I probably said this before, but I'll say it again. One of the saddest things I saw during this whole thing was when I went up onto the new Kosciuszko for the first time. And I looked down on Laurel Hill Drive. The cemetery was closed to the public, but you could see the grave diggers and the groundskeepers out there doing their thing. But that far end of the cemetery was what I came to call COVID corner. It's where most of the burials there are from March, April, May of last year. And that's where they had to carve out space to make way. And it wasn't so much that as they weren't allowed, the families were not allowed to have funeral services, and that was true everywhere, not just here, but I did see a gathering of people, which I presume to be family members, outside on the other side of the fence. The COVID burials were mostly along the Laurel Hill Boulevard fence. And, access to the grounds notwithstanding, those folks were not going to be denied their privilege. That's a great bar, by the way. Bantry Bay Publick House. Across the street from the cemetery. There was a bar in Daytona Beach that was across the street from the cemetery. And their tagline was always, "You're better off here than across the street," or something like that. My dad lived in Daytona Beach, that's why I'm familiar with it. And by the way, if you've ever had a fortune cookie, ever in your life, it almost certainly came from this facility. The Wonton Food Incorporated. They have a virtual monopoly on the fortune cookie business. They crank out millions and millions of fortune cookies out of this place every single day. Or at least that's what it was like pre-pandemic. I don't know what's happening now, but I'm sure they're getting their mojo back. So unless you had like some kind of like artisanal or custom-made fortune cookie for some sort of occasion, the fortune cookies that you have and the fortunes contained within all came from here. They're all the fortunes are written here. The cookies are made here. They have a monopoly worldwide, everywhere except, wait for it, everywhere except for China. The Chinese think that that the wonton cookies are fake. And wonton backward, by the way, spells not now. I always, when I see wonton food, I read it palindromically. DOOF, not now. And just across the street, more or less, from the fortune cookie factory, is Joe Howard, American composer. He's best known for Hello, hello, my darling, hello, my baby, hello, my ragtime gal, blah, 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 blah. But he wrote all kinds of other shit. Very successful Broadway and ragtime composer, I guess. God, listen to those birds. scared him off. I don't know what this means. New York City Riot, 1863. I think that's a Latin thing. I'm gonna have to look that up. What does it say? Sarah Flood Cotter. They're mowing the lawn here today. Smell of fresh cut grass is everywhere. I have no idea if this is going to be open. Well, I should have known. No God for me today. The reason I have to head home quickly is I'm sort of sailing without a net today. I left my wallet and cards and cash and everything like that at home. I cannot remember the last time that happened. The last time I was that absent-minded, but I was sort of woken up in a sort of startling way. So I guess I can make that excuse for myself. Oh, look at this. This is new. I mean, actually, these are the old names, the old street names. St. Mary's Avenue leads down into the valley of the mausoleums. Wow, they're going way back here. I haven't seen street names at Calvary since the old, the guidebook from like the 1880s, I think. And I remember St. Mary's, I didn't remember St. Rose. That's really cool. That is very cool that they're doing this. Let's see where else they put some street signs up. There's, I think I see one over here. Yeah, by the Como Memorial, or the Como Mausoleum. Well, this is new to me. Yeah, right, Locust Avenue. I remember this. I remember this from the old maps. Well, here's something new to chew on. The Shield's stained glass is actually pretty cool. a lot of the glass, once you get over the novelty of it, you find that a lot of the glass at Calvary is pretty sort of routine. But the shield mausoleum is pretty cool. I'm really excited that they put those street signs up. It doesn't seem to be everywhere. Just past a couple intersections where there would have been signs if they'd had them made up, but that is very cool to see the old signs. Wish I could stay longer today, but I felt nervous without without my ID, without my credit cards, without a dollar, a dime on, without any cash whatsoever. What does it really matter, right? I think, I seem to remember there's some federal statute that says you must have ID upon you at all times. And it's the kind of thing that if they can't bust you for anything else, they'll get you for that. I don't know, I'm probably just making that up. I didn't remember there being a street named after me. If only this was the corner of St. Thomas and St. Mark. So if I sounded like I had a bit of a spring in my step earlier, I suppose I did. It's not just because I got jolted awake by the noise, although that contributes mightily to the urgency of the morning, I guess. I didn't wake up alone today, and it felt really, really good. I'm really, as a lifestyle thing, I'm no fan of sharing a bed. I don't think human beings are really wired for it, and on a daily nocturnal basis, I just don't think it makes any sense, but once in a while it works. Fortunately, the bed was a lot bigger than this one, so we had room to rumble. She was a lot of fun. I believe I mentioned her earlier. She's not precisely half my age, but she might as well be. Smart, sweet. No lack of ambition. And sometimes I gotta ask, is that how do younger women who go after like guys my age? Is it like ambition? Is it like aspiration? I don't know. Or is it just that their father fucked them up somehow? I remember when the first woman I dated in New York I was 22. I can't believe I was ever 22 in this town. But I was 22, and I think she was 33. That's how old she was when she finally broke down and revealed her age to me, because the age gap was a big honking deal for her. I guess it was for me too. I'm still talking about her, right? But yeah, those ages, that's That's the difference. Because she was, well, she made herself sound like some kind of Mrs. Robinson. Or the time would tell she was no Mrs. Robinson. She was just 11 or 12 years older than me, that's all. I don't know where it's gone with this woman, but probably hear from her later today. She had to go see her parents. So I'd said before that she had to go see her parents, and I kind of laughed a little. And I didn't actually say this, but when she said that was what she had to do, I thought to myself, yeah, man, I don't even have parents anymore, do I? But that's nothing, though. I mean, I've known tons of people whose parents died a lot earlier than mine. I think, still, though, if you look at it in the traditional arc of time, if you will, I was relatively young. I was 41 when my mother went, and 36, I guess, when my dad went. And my mother had commented, I don't know how many times, but it was enough times for me to certainly let it sink in that she considered aborting me because she thought she was too old.
No, I know, but you would like...
I don't know what's considered too old anymore, but she had enough reason to be concerned about it that abortion was on the table, so to speak. But here I am, right? Anyway, you know, age is just a number, as they say. There is still something kind of jarring about I saw her, I just happened to see her work ID, card, and it had her date of birth on it. And there's still something a little jarring about seeing 1993, which is, whatever. It's all good. So just one last little thing about this woman, and I'll quit talking about her because it's getting boring. When I discovered that I had left my wallet and cash and cards and everything and all that stuff at home, I did let it enter my mind. It did enter the realm of possibility that she had stolen it. And I'm not like a suspicious type of person in that regard, but I sort of momentarily flashed back to the last woman that I had a big thing with last year, and she turned out to be a compulsive shoplifter. And after I learned about all that and what a pain in the ass she was for so many people, I went through my shelves and drawers and everything. And if she stole anything from me, she did a damn good job of making sure it was something I would not notice, because I don't think she did, though. My understanding is that stealing from an entity, stealing from a business or whatever, is a different kind of adrenaline that you get from stealing from a person. So, but I'm not gonna lie, it did enter my mind that this woman, who I barely know, might have walked off with all my cards, all my cash, everything, but she didn't. Well, if I can't get into one chapel, I'll just find another one, right? This is the Church of the Redeemer on Crescent Street. There's some really sweet stained glass in here. One of the other churches, the one over by, 14th Street, I think, also has some really, really nice stained glass. Small, but really intricate. That's the St. George churchyard and cemetery. Whoa. That just slammed. This church has not been open for a long time. It's been probably over a year. This is the one where there's a single occupancy burial site in the front yard. A little SRO cemetery. I've never attended a service here, but I used to play with an orchestra that had rehearsals in the basement downstairs in this building. It was often a bit of an odd juxtaposition because we would have our rehearsals at the same time Alcoholics Anonymous was having its meetings. They'd be in the next room and you'd see all these, it was all men, it was all I ever saw, going in and out. I'm really glad this church is open again. And not only is this church open again, but I got the whole place to myself. Well, except for whoever that was slamming the door. I don't consider myself religious, but if I ever start to have those thoughts, I always remember the Lenny Bruce line. He allegedly said, I'm happy to hear that more people are leaving the church and coming back to God. And this is the front yard of the Redeemer Church, and this is the burial site of one person. I can never remember his name. Cornelius Rapelli Trafford. There used to be a sign inside the church, inside the front door, but I didn't see it, so maybe they moved it, but it explained that this Mr. Trafford donated the bells that are in this tower, and they ring on the hour every hour. But out of respect for him donating the bells, which were quite expensive, they ring every year on his date of birth, at the hour of his birth, I think. So that would be March 26th of every year. And this, believe me when I say this is true, that I first discovered this on March 26th I don't remember what year. And as I made that discovery, the bells started ringing. It's the absolute truth.